All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tuesday, October 7th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting. At this time, I will yield the floor to Chairman Keller.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Item 1 is consideration of a resolution to authorize the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to apply for a 90-10 ADA grant for the purposes of hangar roof repairs on 7 hangars and spray foam insulation on 2 hangars. And this is sponsored by Patrick Karp, Director of the Russellville Municipal Airport. And I move we forward item 1 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 1? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 1 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Item 1 is forwarded. Item 2 is an appropriation from the Economic Development Capital Fund 27 in the sum of $41,479.10 to purchase a UPS battery backup system. Move that we forward item 2 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 2?
What is the,
It's the battery backup system for the computers here at City Hall. The one that we currently have is about to go out. And so this is just replacing that. So if there is something that happens, we've got a battery backup for all our stuff. It does. It does. Yeah, but is there any other discussion on item 2? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 2 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 2 is forwarded. Item 1 is consideration of a reimbursement request for third quarter expenses from the Alliance for Economic Development contract in the amount of $51,450.73. Move forward item 3 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 3? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 3 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 3 is forwarded. Item 4 is discussion regarding the ownership of the strip of property immediately west of 417 East End Street, sponsored by Paul Gray. Councilman Gray, I yield the floor to you.
I'm still looking for, I contacted the mayor a couple days ago and said there was still nothing, so is that still the case?
We did get something, and my apologies, because Mr. Smith had sent me something late yesterday, and I was not aware that I didn't send it to you, so I just sent it to you. Basically, what we got, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Smith, is it was pretty extensive. They show some different plats and different drawings and things. Their understanding and their belief is
Who's they?
What's her? Larry Johnson. Okay, Larry Johnson. Okay, the person who's title searching. Is that the property belongs to the people to the west of the property on East End, because it was the original Parker Hill subdivision.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
And so they the boundaries of the Duval subdivision all match up and everything's good. There's no discrepancies there. So they feel like Ms. Johnson feels like the property in question would belong to a couple of different lots in the Parker Hill subdivision, which in my belief with, and I could be wrong, and I know we can't give the lady any legal advice, but I would think that you would be able to take this information that we have got, because it should be public record, and she should be able to FOIA that and get that record. Her insurance should be able to take that and ask the people that are next door and possibly pay for that, because it would be their property, and it should have to pay for that, is what my question would be. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they'll pay for it. That gets you get into insurance. But
Yeah,
have you sent me? Have you sent me?
I
these
just sent it.
documents?
I
Okay.
just literally, and that's my bad. I do apologize to all of you. So
that's fine.
I sent
It's
it
only
to.
so I can send it to her.
Yes, I've sent it to council only and Miss Skelton, so she will have it for her records. I just literally sent that while I was sitting
Yeah,
here.
and that's going to come. That's also going to. if no property taxes have been paid on that for several years, that's gonna be an interesting thing to, somebody else.
But they did determine, and like I say, she does a really good job of explaining it, and there are a couple diagrams in there, but she explains it very well. I'm assuming, that's Lara Johnson is a female. I do apologize for making that assumption, so.
All right, thank you.
No.
Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion on item 4? Hearing none, we'll move to item 5, consideration of an ordinance to establish a coalition with Polk County, Arkansas, the city of Atkins, Arkansas, the city of Dover, Arkansas, and the city of Dover, Arkansas, to apply for U.S. EPA, to the U.S. EPA for brownfield grants, to approve the selection of the city of Russellville, Arkansas as the lead agency for the coalition and point of contact for the U.S. EPA in the emergency clause, or with an emergency clause, to authorize the mayor and the city clerk treasurer and any and all necessary personnel to apply for and accept a grant for the coalition, to authorize the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign any and all memoranda of understanding with any and all coalition members in any and all cities receiving services from the accepted Brownfields grant. Mayor, what can you tell us about this?
That was a lot of reading, that's what I can tell you. Okay, so this is, we were approached probably 6 to 9 months ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, I'm not sure, by a gentleman from the University of Louisiana Monroe who specializes in brownfield grants. These are properties that are dilapidated, could possibly, a good example is the old Hacks Cleaners right behind us here. Different properties that may have some contamination and different things. And so this gentleman, along with Terracon, they apply for the grants for us, and then they're able to potentially go in, if we get the grant funding, and help clean those properties up so that they can rehab those back to where we can help, give a future developer a clean bill of health, basically, for a piece of property. So when they came in, they went around with Judge Cross, Judge Sweet, or Mayor Sweet from Atkins, and Mayor Roger Lee from Dover, and myself. And so they found different sites across Polk County and Russellville that would qualify for these grants. And so you guys, I think, have already, last month or month before, we've agreed to work with Terracon. And so this is just basically a memorandum of understanding, allowing us as the city of Russellville to be the lead agency to communicate with these grants. So.
Okay, I got a question real quick. I know that when we approved moving forward with Terracon on the Brownsfield grants, it was stated that there was going to be no cost for their services.
There is no cost.
And now it's coming into this. How is Terracon getting paid then?
Well,
is this just out of the goodness of their heart? They go to different towns?
well, of course not.
So,
of course not. They're basically, they will go in and they will file for these grants for you, and then they will be bidding for the projects. They are a entity that will bid for the projects.
Do they take
and they will have to be lowest bidder. So whenever any of those entities, because they're municipalities, go out to bid, they will have to take the lowest bid. And if Terracon is the lowest bid, then Terracon can be they get the contract. So, but for the grant writing, there is no cost. And this is, like I say, this is basically an MOU for us to be the lead on this. So
This is for lead and asbestos and
just random anything. I mean,
Okay.
they took the sweet spot for one. That's in Eddie Price's city. So just random places that may have just contamination, may or may not, but they go in and they look and see if there's contamination. If there is contamination, then you go to the next level and you ask for grants to be able to clean up that and remediate that. So
just say, for an example, Hacks.
Hacks, yes.
Right. That was something that went through this procedure. Do they still own? Somebody owns that property.
Yes.
Is this a benefit to the property owner? Are they going to lose?
No, it can be a
sell the
benefit to the
property?
property owner, but it also allows, as a benefit to the city and the county, it allows you to, hopefully someone that wants to come in, they don't have to do the environmental legwork.
Right.
They can have it cleaned up and not have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Because if you come in and like, man, that's going to cost me, if I've
Yeah.
got to do it, like, I can't even imagine if a restaurant tried to come in on that, I mean, what it would be like.
Yeah,
It would
for
be,
sure.
the environmental would be crazy. So it allows them to give it basically a clean bill of health.
Cool.
And this gentleman has done this quite extensively, and he came in and took us around really. And Miss John Dahl was not able to be here tonight, but it's like I say, I think it's very beneficial for the county and the cities that it's are going to be able to do. Like Miss Emma's Grocery, if you know Miss Emma's Grocery outside of Atkins, that's one of those that was an old gas station, and so there's definitely some different things there back in the day. So
Is this a single grant that's,
multiple.
okay, so
Yeah,
each individual?
yeah. Well, yes, I think the first one to come in and do the study will be a single grant to go in and do studies in these multiple different areas. Then you will have multiple grants to come back for each individual property. I think I said that clearly.
So Mayor, the criteria for what kind of buildings that could be benefited from this grant is pretty broad.
It is, and there's, gosh, man, it's been a minute since we took that tour. God, we even looked at the old Dairy Queen, which used to be the Frank House property office over on 4th Street. You just look at dilapidated buildings and wonder, hey, how old are they? Do they have any asbestos in them? Different things like that. They just look at the different things that they can possibly help come in and give a clean bill of health to.
Most brownfields usually have something that has to do with things that got into the soil and got into waterways or something around them. Hacks cleaners is a really good example. Asbestos would be another one, but it's usually things that have some sort of environmental thing. A lot of them would have occurred even before the EPA, so they're
Yes.
old, many of them. So that's something that I don't think it's just going to be, they're not going to be looking at every building in town, but it'll be certain targeted things.
They came in and picked several
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they were gonna be looking at. Yeah.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, so they are going to go apply for grants to go around to do a study to see if there are
Issues with these
essential-
properties.
potentially toxic issues with chemicals and toxic situations that can be abated, and then at that point they're going to apply for grants that will pay for the abatement of those.
Yes, that's the next level.
So I think we need to be able to identify those properties, yes. Once they apply for a grant to abate a certain property, if that grant is not successful, what then is the city's responsibility to clean up something that has been identified in this process but did not receive grant funding to abate?
To my understanding, there's no legal obligation to us because it's private property.
Okay,
So,
okay. And then, so we're talking about, okay, so there's the grant for the study, and then there's going to be grants for the different properties and so on and so forth. It seems to me like there's a lot of authorizations in this. So are we just saying, just move forward with this project, and then the council, other than the occasional like update, no other action is going to come through the council because we're like authorizing everything under the sun up front?
until there, when there is a properties identified that would reside in the city of Russellville, then the council would have to be involved. So you're organizing a memorandum of understanding between all the entities that you read, just for us to be that lead person. Sarah's going to be that lead person that's going to be communicating for us,
Yeah, the Russellville would be the lead
Yes.
agency.
Yes, we're going to be the lead that kind of helps facilitate that. Because for a county, they have to have one entity that they can communicate with instead of communicating with so many different ones, I think so. But if there are, let's go back to hacks. If it's isolated and they choose to write a grant for that, then it would come back to the council. In any action for anything that was done, if it involved anything, it would come, if there were a grant that were going to come through the city of Russellville, it would have to come back through the council.
Is asbestos, I can't remember what the answer was. Was asbestos something that this would look at and potentially?
Yes, if properties that they have already identified a list of properties, and so they're just going to come in and study the already identified pieces of property.
Could they abate the asbestos in the building next door?
I can't remember if they actually, I don't know the list right off the top of me, but if if it was one of those that they had indicated, they could potentially write for that, so.
We actually do not have a motion on the floor. We have a lot of discussion though, but is there a motion regarding item 5?
Motion to send to the full council with recommendation of approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned second. Do we have any further discussion?
They have
on
asked
item
for
5?
one time only and an emergency clause, so that no.
We,
Oh, it says emergency clause in it, so.
it says
Yeah, so
emergency
just-
clause, but
Yeah,
but this is a finance committee meeting. We can only forward it to the full
yeah,
council.
okay, so you can't choose
Yeah,
that,
we
yes.
can't,
You're
yeah.
just forwarding for approval, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keller.
Is there any further discussion on item 5? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 5 to the full council with the recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item 5 is forwarded. That is the last item on the finance agenda, Mayor. I yield the floor back to you.
All right, we will adjourn and then go right into agenda prep. You're adjourned. Tell me when. Go, can't go. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I will call this Tuesday, October 7th, 2025, agenda prep meeting to order. Let me see, Mr. Newman, are you going to play the part of Kenneth Duval tonight? And then I believe I see Mr. Don Urbach back in the back who will want to give us a little update.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to give you a brief update on some of the projects that are ongoing under construction. You may be aware, just across the railroad tracks, the downtown parking lot project, there's been a dozer and some work out there today. We've been making progress on that project. The soccer parking lot has been striped and ready to go for this weekend moving forward. So we've got that project as near completion. West Main sidewalks are near 30% complete. They're continuing working back toward downtown with that project, making some headway. Project's taking a little bit longer with it being an RDOT intersection with the cabinet improvements, that equipment at the intersection of Knoxville and Main. The equipment's been ordered. We're waiting on that to come in, then we'll start construction at that location. And the Tampa and Utica, they should be getting delivery started this week and construction begin next week on that project. One other item I'd like to just show a brief, about a minute and a half, 2-minute video of the Prairie Creek project. This just gives you just appreciation, hopefully, of the movement forward on there, that this is starting at ATU's campus, going back downtown to your left, looking at the screen is a parking lot, and there's the cell tower. So this is, the beginning of it's generally the width and shape of the project. They're working on one side more because of the access. They'll come back and work on the other, but this just a brief appreciation of the project. Utility power's been relocated along the side. You can see there's still a utility pole there in the ditch that has got a permit and they're in process of relocating. But right there, it kind of gives you a good magnitude of the new width of the channel section on Prairie Creek. And the contractor's working through that, and this video will generally show, this is location of excavation. This was performed last week. As we keep going along this video, you can see where the clearing and grubbing's taking place, mainly along this corridor where the utilities aren't in conflict. There's a utility right around those trees right now that they haven't cleared that out. And speed it up here potentially if we want to kind of move a little quicker through here, because it's basically just showing the clearing through this corridor. That's the pump station for City Core at the end of Glenwood. And this, at the top of the screen, you'll see that's ultimately the El Paso culvert. So we're not changing it out. This is on the other side of that location. This is where the coffee shop was, the yoga studio, and the mini storage has now been demolished. There was also a small house is a little bit further, and it may be a little too quick for some of that, but this just shows that the demo of those structures have occurred. This is moving closer to Parkway. It's the other side of Parkway. This is the old car building. The building's been removed. The slabs remain. We'll demo that. It just hasn't taken place yet. And then, so this is Commerce. This is on the other side of Commerce. This is where on the south side here, at the bottom of the screen, that's where the parking lot that we were talking about just briefly ago would be going. The other side toward the ditch is where the two other structures were located. Those have been demoed since the project's started. There's still more work to be done, but they've been doing the demo and working with excavation. And soon the submittals for the bridge replacements have been turned in to Corps of Engineers. That's being reviewed. As soon as those gets approved and moving forward, we'll have a schedule on that. This is the old heritage site, and obviously the building's been removed. This is also their laydown yard, and they will be moving forward on that as we progress this direction. But just thought this is a piece of equipment we purchased, a drone that we are able to utilize to update our GIS, and we're also being able to do some videos on some of the projects. So just want to give you an update on there. We're not going to try to bring that every month by any means, just as significant items come through and just give status. Just also with our technology, we also have essentially a Google camera that as our projects linear are being updated or constructed, we're sending those updated new sidewalks and other improvements. You can look on Google and you can see, so Russellville, you can see the new construction and improvements that we've done. And so we're trying to get that out there so the public sees it and other people interested in our city. So,
Awesome.
Don,
Thank you. Mr. Urbach.
I know, a long time. Don, do you mind coming and give us an update on the downtown project?
Man, that B Street sidewalk looks amazing in front of downtown Taco. I was wondering what kind of magic you guys were going to work on that, but it looks amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And that's Bowden Specialties has put that in, and they've done a very good job with that. And also, the engineering on that, as many of you know, there was double curb there, double step, and all the rest of it. And I wasn't quite sure I was going to work as well too. But
Looks amazing.
I think one of the things we'll find, without putting a whole lot of drainage into this project, I think we've significantly improved the drainage downtown. You can see it now after some of these rains. We still have a couple of spots that we're going to try and work out with some paving, and also, I think the last time we came forward with a couple of changes, we're putting some concrete into the parking areas instead of asphalt, where we hopefully are able to control water a little bit better. So, without huge expenditure on what that stormwater drainage would have been, I think we're going to, improve it. Now, your ankles might still get wet on a really heavy rain down here, but it will clean off fairly quickly and dry up without having that water being held. For those that were around last week, we had people out working every night last week. They took out I think Glenn referred to them as the speed bumps going down 64, the old crosswalks that had the bricks in them. It was amazing how much concrete they had under those. In fact, the one at Boulder had over 2 feet of concrete with reinforced. It actually took them a couple of nights for them to get that out. So during that time, while Bowden was putting those in, we got the rest of the signal, the main arms up. So those have all been placed. The ASE, All Service, who's putting in the signals, will be back when we get they'll be back doing some other work, but they'll actually start getting the rest of the arms up. First at El Paso, when we get that overhead line de-energized, they'll be able to put the line in. There's an arm that goes across it's on the north side of the road, crosses El Paso, that will be put in. We're hoping they're able to get in the next couple of weeks. We're going, right now we've got our electricians are putting in services. Should be going into First State Bank, Bank OZK, Dr. Pepper Building are the first 3 going in. When those are installed and ready to go, we should be able to get that line de-energized, so it'll go from the top undergrounded, which will mean we can then cross and get those signals done. We'll then be able to move down Main Street and get the rest of the signals. There'll be some more night work to hang some of the mast arms for those, but just a couple. They're pretty efficient in getting those things hung. It'll be wired before, so hopefully we're getting close on the signals. The other thing with that undergrounding, Dusty Roads is doing the streetlights, and they're also been working on those connections for the services that are being replaced. They should start working on the south side, which will hopefully be able to get power to those lights that have been out, and then also power to the north side as well too. So we'll start to get lights on some of those that we've had been running with the night lights or power generator lights. Hopefully we'll get those taken out. So that is moving along, and then we should have, I think Bowden should have in all of his materials now for being able to start the roads on the north side. Our plan is, and we actually have a scheduling meeting tomorrow, so some of this could be subject to change on our conversations tomorrow, but our priority is to get Denver, B Street, and Commerce, that loop done where we have those businesses, to get those done first, and so we can get out of there for the holiday season. We can hopefully get those wrapped up by the middle of November. We'll see if we can keep to that schedule. It's probably going to be about 2 weeks on each of those blocks by the time we finish doing all the road, because the north-south roads are concrete. And so not only does it take the time to put them in, they actually need time to sit and cure before they get driven on. Unlike asphalt where you can drive on it the next day, the concrete will take a little while to get set up. So those roads hopefully we'll have in kind of mid-November. Obviously, we're very cognizant of the holiday season and making sure we're not interrupting businesses, but we're also going to try and continue to keep moving along so we can keep the project going as well too. So, as we look at getting the communication companies in, Brightspeed has their permits from RDOT and should be able to start pulling as well too. They've been waiting for Entergy to get ahead of them. So they'll start pulling the lines. Last time we got all the agreements done with Optimum, and that's done. Ritter is the one, and I don't even want to say holdout because there's nothing that's holding it out. I'm now dealing with the fourth person at Ritter since this project started, just as far as corporate turnover and everything else. They don't have a ton of assets that they're going to have to put in, but they do have some. We do need to get a contribution aid of construction document with them between Blackstone, and then we also need to get a lease in the city so they can get into those. But that's the last communications company to get in. And I'm not even sure if they have anything on El Paso, so it may or may not matter as far as those polls go. But obviously, after we get Entergy done with their use, we're going to have to get the communications off those poles, and then we can finish it up. The reason that's important is that's really the last part that happens, because we have to get those poles, and for the most part, cut them off. But to get those final panels of concrete put in, we're going to need to get the poles removed. So that's kind of where we are.
Thank you, sir. That's extensive. Mr. Gray, you have something?
Where are we on, because I walk downtown quite a bit, on cracked sidewalks? There's a couple of cracks.
I know Bowden's gone back and got some of those, hasn't he? He still has a few to go back to, I know.
Yeah,
Is our-
there will be some, and that's one of the things that we'll obviously talk with Glenn and the city engineering about as well too, because there will be, if you walk around any sidewalk, there's going to be cracking as well too. Some of it will be done by temperature, some of it will be done by settling, some of it can be, the quality control that'll be done. Obviously, we want to make sure that it's, installed in place. There will be some minor cracking that is going to take place, and we just need to figure out whether that's going to be impactful to the overall.
That's really my question, is your punch list on this, is this something that y'all need to come back and fix, or is this just,
There will
that's
be,
my
there,
question.
yeah, so we will come back and fix things.
Yes.
But there's also, given the length that we've had for this project so far, some of this stuff is already, getting to be 2 years in, and we put in. The reasonableness of, do we expect it to crack over time or not, a new install. If there is a deficiency in construction, we will certainly, address it. The kind of dialogue and part that we want to make sure in partnership is that obviously the customer's happy with what they get, but it's also reasonable for the contractor to have, done all
Yeah.
the means, so.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Hey, are you still thinking end of the year? Is that the goal still? Like,
That's
For
gonna,
what?
I guess to finish the downtown.
What year?
This year,
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
right
so
now.
We hope that we can have decorations up for Christmas, and have it look nice, but
That's my main
I
concern.
don't believe we'll be able to get done. If we want to have, I think it's going to be difficult to get all the roads done electricity turned on, the things that we have left.
You won't have all the utilities done. I mean, that's the reality. We're not going to have all the poles removed.
I think I
mean,
just mean like, like the work being done where they're, parking, I guess getting the sidewalk project, is that gonna be completely done? Just the
Sidewalks
so-
should be
Yeah, the
close.
sidewalk would be close, but if there's
Okay.
if there's a power pole, an old wood pole in it, it's probably likely still gonna be there at the end of the year. We hope we can get some of those. The duct run, which is held up getting all of the sidewalk in,
Yeah.
is getting near its terminus. We're waiting for RDOT to give us the permit to get across Highway 7, but we were basically just about done digging. Judge Cross is gonna enjoy us in his parking lot for, a little bit of time. And then we've got a little bit left over in Peters, but outside of that, the duct run will be done, and that's what's held up Bowden on some of his stuff, so, things will look fantastic at the end of the year, but they
Right.
may not be complete.
Well, good job.
All right. Thank you so much.
You bet.
I need to rewind just a minute. Mr. Gray, will you get out your magic number calculator or whatever it is for our prayer? You got to, well, I need 30, is it 31? I think we have 31 on the list. $20?
22, sorry.
Oh, 22, okay.
6.
6.
I feel like I'm calling bingo. That's 22 again. That's not going to work. 30.
30. Give it one more, she says.
8.
8. You got one more and we'll have the lottery numbers. So,
You want another one?
no. All right. Okay. So somebody go win that lottery and build us some new parks and stuff. All right. So moving on to the agenda, we'll be voting on, it's going to be moving to the special call meeting. Tonight after this meeting, we'll have a consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign a lease agreement with the Russellville Playhouse, 210 South Boulder, and for other purposes. Like I say, that'll be moving on to our special called meeting. In unfinished old business, we'll have consideration of an ordinance amending the land subdivision development code for the city of Russellville, Arkansas, adopted by ordinance 2444. I may have had one more extra for there. For the purposes, this will be the second of 3 readings from the Planning Commission. New business is what we had just talked about, the MOU for the brownfield grants. And then item 2, the license to land for Sugar Creek is being removed. That will no longer be on the agenda.
Okay.
So that we are not, the planning commission and us are not going to be making decisions about that.
The Planning Commission denied it 6-1,
Okay.
and the owners, you'll go ahead.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Yeah.
I spoke to Mr. Van Horn this morning, and he asked me to remove it. Okay, yeah, so.
Well, I mean, I would like to hear why. Like,
I would too.
I would like to hear some discuss, because I didn't get to go to planning
Okay.
commission. So,
Good evening. The Planning Commission, after deliberation, did forward with recommendation for denial with the following condition that the traffic department comes up with a solution to slow down traffic in the area.
He said they did not
The
forward
planning
it.
commission did not forward it with a recommendation of denial. There were 2 motions. One was Mr. Duffield's, which was not voted on because the one that was there that took precedent was just straight up denial, and for the applicant to work with the road department on other options other than closing the street. That was not forwarded to or to the council with any recommendation at all.
Oh, there may have been a miscommunication between us. And no, that's fine.
I apologize
That's
if
fine.
that sounded harsh. It was
No,
not
it's
meant
fine.
to be.
There may have been a miscommunication somewhere in there because staff was under the impression that it was forwarded with their recommendation, but if that's not the case, we can go back.
So I met with both Mr. Van Horns this morning, and we talked about some options for some speed bumps and some stop signs and some speed limit signs that we feel like will be sufficient and hopefully getting the attention of those that are driving and trying to slow them down. So
we have those like flashing street cross things you know? I mean, if they were willing to come up with some type of co-agreement for costs, you know, I would be, you know, you push a button, the lights go on, you cross the street.
Well, but that doesn't work for their forklifts. I mean, their forklift will drive 2 blocks at a time in the middle of the road. So, I mean, yeah, if it was as simple as a crossing, it would have been, yeah, that's a super simple thing, but
Yeah.
but I mean, I think the Van Horns are happy with where we're going to be going.
Okay.
They are good with where we're going. I feel like it will, I think Chief Sloan and I are going to talk about it because he was actually the one that brought it up. I haven't had a chance to talk with him after we talked, but he was the one that actually brought it up as a safety concern before Mr. Van Horn actually even brought it up.
Well, because
But
it
yeah.
was my concern that they were trying to be proactive in not being kicked off
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, and
And-
they did get the insurance did drop them.
Yeah.
But they do have insurance right now, and so we spoke of a plan this morning, and I should have called you,
No worries.
Mr. Wilson. I do apologize. It's been kind of a crazy day. So.
All good. No
But
worries.
yeah, does anyone else have any other questions concerning that?
I don't know if it's relevant at this point, just based on where the item is. We did want to note the address as it was in the written in the agenda here was not correct, and that it was supposed to be West C Street and North Fargo Avenue, located adjacent to 201 North El Paso Avenue.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just remove that item, and I think we'll be good moving forward. Is that good with you, Ms. Skelton? Thank you.
Thank you.
That good with you, Mr. Smith? That legally is okay? Good, okay. All right, and item 3 is a discussion added by, discussion regarding requested change to agenda prep procedures, and this is by Mr. Gray. I'll yield the floor to you, Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, tonight's not a good example of what I was wanting to discuss. I was just wanting to have the council think about our agenda prep. A lot of our agenda prep meetings, to me, over the past few months have been see how quick we can get out, read through things really quickly. Maybe, you know, I'm getting blank stares, so maybe I'm barking up a tree that nobody else is seeing. But I think I just mixed some metaphors there, didn't I? But anyway, it feels like we're reading through things and going very quickly. And so tonight, I think we did a really good job of discussing things, stopping and thinking about them, because the agenda prep meeting to me is the sausage making. It is where we should be discussing every single issue and trying to suss out things. And then I do have a request, Mr. Mayor, if in an agenda prep, if you could talk about things that have happened, and I'll give you 2 examples that one of them came up in the last meeting, that we have a discretionary spending freeze. I had no idea we had a discretionary spending freeze, and
Did I not send that out via email?
you said it in a meeting. We were discussing
I sent it in an email.
before that night.
Yes, I sent it out after I had talked to the department heads, yeah.
All right, and then someone asked me this week about a hiring freeze, and I haven't seen that as well. So if it has to do with spending, the council, I just want agenda prep to be slow and messy and lots of discussion, because sometimes I feel like we just get in a big hurry. And when I got a question about a hiring freeze, I was like, I don't know. And so I'd just like to know those.
I would
kind
have
of
to
things.
check that email, and I'm not sure if I sent that in an email or not. Basically,
Well, I just think this would be a good agenda prep thing to say, hey, I'm going to do a discretionary spending freeze. Let's, just wanted you guys to know that. We could discuss it. Same thing with a hiring freeze or anything else. That's just my 2 cents, because I was surprised when I got the question late last week on hiring freeze. I said,
I apologize
No, I'm not
that
asking
I didn't bring it up into. If it's something you want to bring up agenda, I can do that. Like I say, I had sent that out via email, and I assumed, and maybe on assumption everybody got it. And I don't. I'd have to go back and check that and see. I thought I put both of those in there, and I may or may not have. So
I'm not pointing fingers. What I want is for us to be deliberative and slow in agenda prep, and then council meeting, that's the one that can fly through, because we've already discussed everything. But the things that especially have to do with the council, we have the purse strings, and so if it's about spending or cutting or whatever, and I know you're busy and you've got a million things on your plate, I would just like for us to hear those, so we don't, like, I got surprised late last week, so.
I think probably the biggest issue with the more formal step-by-step feel of agenda prep is that we're in this room, which we made that decision for convenience for the public because it's a lot easier for us to promote the video from this room as opposed to downstairs. But downstairs was more open and more conversational, where we were around a table discussing things. You know, it stinks that we can't have both. So I agree. I think if we were more pointed in our discussion in being less formal in agenda prep so that we can iron things out, I'm okay with that.
I mean, I will say that I agree with Mr. Gray that tonight's not a good example. I think that there have been some times that it has felt rushed through agenda prep. Again, this isn't anyone's fault or anything. I just come back to, like, always, when I first started coming to city council meetings, I didn't go to agenda prep because I was like, well, I'm going to go to the meeting. Why do I want to see the agenda being prepared? I want the actual meeting itself. And then everything was like, it's brought up, it's voted on. It's brought up, it's voted on. It's like, well, why isn't anyone discussing this? Well, that's what happens at agenda prep. Oh, okay. So then that was part of my learning process about municipal government. And I think if that's what we're going to say, that agenda prep is where the sausage is made, that we need to make sure that we are making the sausage.
Anyone else? Mr. Gray, is that?
I am good.
You're good? You're good? All right, thank you so much. All right, so that being item 3, then so we're going to adjourn, and then I'm going to take 5 minutes, and then we'll come back to the special call meeting. We are adjourned. Can we put a 5-minute clock up there by chance? Up in the...